Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're uh, really zooming in on something quite forward-thinking happening up in Wisconsin. They're tackling a big challenge, building a skilled workforce for some really booming sectors, electronics, and advanced battery manufacturing.
That's right. Wisconsin's becoming a serious hub for this high-tech stuff, and, well, the interesting part is how they're doing it. We're going to look at some cutting-edge tech, specifically spatial AI and XR extended reality. It seems to be a real game changer for closing that skills gap.
A game changer. How so?
It's all about finding ways to learn these, pretty complex technical skills much faster and, frankly, more effectively than before.
Okay, that definitely sounds relevant for anyone interested in learning faster or just future-proofing their career, right?
Absolutely. So we'll be diving into this initiative. It's led by a company called EON Reality, but involves a whole network, state agencies, technical colleges, and big industry names like Foxconn and Clarios.
Got it. So let's start with the basics. Why Wisconsin? Why is this focus happening there right now?
Well, Wisconsin's made some really strategic moves to attract major investment in these areas. You mentioned Foxconn, that's a huge one. And then companies like Clarios in the battery space are growing significantly too. All that growth, which is great for the economy, obviously creates this huge demand for people with very specific skills,
Yeah.
high precision skills.
High precision. Okay, let's break that down. What kind of skills are we talking about for, say, electronics manufacturing?
Right. So for electronics, think surface mount technology, SMT. That's placing those tiny, tiny components on circuit boards. Precision assembly is key, making sure everything fits just right. Then there's AOI, automated optical inspection, using cameras to spot defects. And clean room protocols are super strict. You have to prevent any contamination.
Okay, very meticulous. And for batteries?
Batteries bring their own set of challenges. You need people skilled in handling chemicals safely, operating these complex automated assembly lines, performing really rigorous quality control for the energy storage systems, and following extremely stringent safety procedures. It's critical.
Wow, yeah, incredibly detailed, and accuracy seems paramount. You can see why maybe the old ways of training might struggle a bit here. Keeping up with the speed and scale, plus safety, and now AI's role in manufacturing, too.
Exactly. Traditional training, sitting in a classroom or even limited hands-on practice, it can be slow, expensive, and it doesn't always give you that deep, immersive feel you need for such delicate work, especially, like you said, with safety. Battery tech involves hazardous materials. You can't afford mistakes. And that's where this EON reality approach really comes into its own.
So let's get into that. What is EON Reality bringing? This spatial AI term keeps popping up. What does it actually do here?
Okay, so EON Reality has this whole ecosystem. The heart of it is the EON XR platform. Think of it as a scalable cloud-based system, like a SaaS platform. But the really standout feature is its spatial AI text-to-XR capability. It uses AI to basically read technical documents like an SMT machine manual or battery assembly steps, and then almost instantly turn them into interactive 3D training experiences in XR.
Instantly. Like how instantly?
Get this, under 80 seconds.
Wait, under 80 seconds. To go from a manual to an interactive 3D training module?
Yep. It's pretty remarkable.
That's incredible. The agility that gives you is obvious. New machine, updated procedure, bam, new training module.
Exactly right. That speed is vital. These industries change fast. And beyond the platform, they're setting up specialized AI academy tracks. These are focused learning paths, think advanced electronics manufacturing or battery tech specialist. The goal is practical skill validation, leading to industry-recognized micro-credentials.
Micro-credentials, right.
And crucially, they aim to create direct hiring pipelines with Wisconsin employers.
So it connects the learning directly to the job market, makes sense. And you mentioned an EON career guide and compass, too.
Yeah, that's essentially an AI career advisor. It helps folks in Wisconsin see the opportunities in these growing sectors, maybe assess their own aptitudes, and even map out a learning plan to get into these fields or move up.
So it's guidance as well as training. And this is all built around a specific AI-era curriculum, not just standard stuff.
Correct. It's not generic. It's co-developed with Wisconsin industry experts and the faculty at the technical colleges. So it reflects the real needs on the ground. And it goes beyond just the how-to. It includes training on interacting with AI systems on the factory floor, managing automated lines, collaborating effectively in these tech-heavy environments.
So, okay, instead of just reading about an SMT line, I could potentially be in a virtual SMT line.
Precisely. You're immersed in a realistic simulation, whether it's an electronics assembly line or a battery production cell. It lets you master complex, even dangerous tasks safely and efficiently. No risk, lower cost than using real equipment for initial training. And the data they have is showing learners pick up these complex skills up to 4 times faster this way.
4 times faster. That
Yep.
is a massive potential impact for Wisconsin trying to fill these roles quickly.
It really is.
Now, you said this is a big collaboration. Who are the key partners making this happen statewide?
It's quite a coalition. You've got state agencies like the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, WEDC, and the Department of Workforce Development. They're providing strategic direction, industry connections, linking it to workforce programs like Wisconsin Fast Forward, and helping with funding.
Okay, the state is heavily involved. And the technical colleges.
Absolutely critical. The whole Wisconsin Technical College System, WTCS, is involved. Specific colleges like Gateway Technical College, Milwaukee Area Technical College, MATC, they're the ones deploying it. They're integrating this XR and AI training into their programs, using their massive statewide network to reach people everywhere.
Makes sense to use that existing infrastructure. And industry has to be on board too, right? To make sure the training actually matches the jobs.
Oh, definitely. Companies like Foxconn, Clarios, Rockwell Automation, and many others in the supply chain are deeply involved. They're helping define the exact skill standards needed, validating the content, making sure it's accurate and relevant, and exploring things like internships, even making hiring commitments for program graduates.
It really sounds like they've thought through the whole pipeline, from learning to earning. So, what are the big advantages Wisconsin expects to see from all this?
Well, several key things. First, that hyper-acceleration of skills we mentioned. Getting people job-ready much faster supports production ramp-ups. Second, enhanced precision and, crucially, safety. Training in VR for tricky tasks or handling hazardous materials. Zero real-world risk during learning.
That safety aspect for batteries seems huge.
It is. Then you expect better skill proficiency overall. Higher competence means fewer errors in things like quality control checks, like AOI or battery testing. Plus, immersive learning tends to boost knowledge retention significantly. They're seeing upwards of 75% improvement there.
And that speed of content creation you mentioned earlier with spatial AI, that must be a constant benefit.
Absolutely game-changing. Updating training almost instantly as tech evolves keeps the workforce current. It also makes the whole thing much more scalable and cost-effective statewide. They project cost savings of maybe 50–60% compared to traditional methods. Ultimately, the goal is a future-proofed workforce, comfortable with AI-driven manufacturing. This really strengthens Wisconsin's niche as a tech hub.
Could you give us a few more concrete examples? Like walk me through how spatial AI is actually used in, say, electronics training.
Sure. So imagine you're training to be an SMT operator. The AI takes the machine's manual, converts it, and suddenly you're in VR, operating a virtual version of that exact machine, learning the steps interactively. Or for AOI, you could practice analyzing virtual circuit board scans, learning to spot defects. You could simulate delicate hand soldering without wasting materials or risking damage.
Okay, I see.
You might use augmented reality AR, where digital instructions are overlaid on a real or virtual object to guide assembly. Or practice diagnosing faults on virtual circuits.
Right, much more hands-on, even at virtual. And for battery manufacturing, similar ideas.
Very similar. You could practice the precise steps of stacking battery cells virtually. Operate a simulated automated assembly line for battery modules. Run through safety drills for chemical handling generated by AI, all completely safe. Practice testing virtual battery management systems. Or use AR guides for quality checks on finished batteries.
It really brings the training to life. And you mentioned a dual-track curriculum. How does that work?
Yeah, so there's a foundation track covering core advanced manufacturing principles relevant to both electronics and batteries. Then you specialize. You choose either the advanced electronics or the battery technology track. And the content in both tracks is constantly being updated and refined, using that spatial AI capability, keeping it current.
It paints a really compelling picture for workforce development. Dan Lajerskar at EON Reality sounds pretty confident.
He does. He calls the spatial AI tech a game changer, precisely because it allows this rapid creation of complex training. It empowers people in Wisconsin to get these critical skills faster, which in turn feeds the talent pipeline these huge industries need, cementing Wisconsin's reputation for developing talent in these vital tech areas.
So wrapping this up, it really feels like this Wisconsin initiative, driven by EON Reality, Spatial AI and XR, is a significant step forward, a potential model for workforce training in these critical high-tech fields.
I think so, yes. It offers a faster, safer, and just more effective way for people to gain these really sophisticated skills that are in such high demand.
And it definitely makes you think, doesn't it? You wonder how these AI-powered learning tools could be used elsewhere, other industries, even for our own personal skill development.
Right. It's food for thought. How can we all potentially use these kinds of advancements to close skills gaps and just learn faster in a world that keeps changing so quickly?
A fascinating look at the future of learning and work. Thanks for walking us through this deep dive today.